One of my biggest goals in life is to have a deep and meaningful relationship with my wife and our 5 children. Time together is a foundational element of that, but it's far too easy for me to get distracted by work and other urgent things and not focus on what's really important. Time blocking is one of the best techniques that I've found to help me get done what I want to do. So what's time blocking? Well, it's very simple. Instead of scheduling time with other people, it's scheduling time with yourself to do specific tasks that you want to get done. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through the 7 steps that I use to time block my day every day. If it sounds complex, don't worry about it. I find it usually takes me about 10 minutes to do, and the effects are compounding. It makes my next day so much more productive. I have a daily wind down every day at about 5 o'clock. I use this time to reflect on the day and do some journaling, as well as to plan out what I want to do the next day. Time blocking is one of the first steps that I do when planning the next day. Doing it at the end of the workday and the night before serves 2 primary purposes. Firstly, when I wake up in the morning, I no longer have to struggle with making decisions of what I should do first, especially when I'm groggy and just tired and just woken up. Instead, I know exactly what I should do, and the same thing all throughout the day. Anytime I'm feeling unmotivated, I can just look at my time block schedule and know, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I told myself to do. Secondly, and even more importantly, it helps me close the day so that when I leave my office and go to spend time with the family at dinner or before bedtime, I'm able to step away completely from work. I don't know if you're like me, but I have a real trouble with stepping out of my work and just transitioning by leaving my office. Instead, I'm finding myself always thinking about problems and what I'm currently needing to do at work or what I need to do next. Time blocking really helps with this. It helps me set out a schedule of what I want to do the next day so I can leave work for the day and not worry about it. I can just focus on time with the family because I know I've already planned what I want to do the next day. Now that I've sat down to time block my next day, the very first thing I do is mark my sleep schedule. I try to be as realistic with this as possible. So even though ideally I want to be getting up at 5, I know that lately I've been getting up at 6, and so that's what time I write that I wake up. Similarly, ideally I go to bed at 10, but lately I've been reading some Brandon Sanderson and staying up till 11:30 at night, and so maybe I shouldn't mark 10 o'clock as my bedtime unless I know that I can commit to that and not get pulled into the book too far. I try not to set myself up for failure right from the start by making these realistic goals so that I can follow through with them. I mean, I don't want to start the day by saying I'm waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning when I know I'm going to sleep till 8. It just messes up the whole day. So be realistic with your sleep schedule, but all your other goals as well. Next up are scheduled meetings. So I'll open up Fantastical, which is the best calendaring app for Apple platforms, and I'll look at my schedule and the meetings that I've already planned, and so I'll mark those down on my time block schedule. Following meetings, I move on to my daily routines. These are things which are important to me that I've already built daily habits around to make sure that I continue progressing in certain goals, and therefore I don't want to miss those, so I mark them down next. My half-hour devotions in the morning are the first thing which are added, as well as normal morning prep. This is followed by me adding my 30 to 60 minutes exercise routine at some point throughout the day, as well as my morning coffee time with friends. These are routines and habits that I've worked hard to build up and I don't want to neglect, and so I want to make sure that I will continue doing them so they get added to the time block schedule right away. Next up is my important time. These are the things which aren't at fixed times, but are the things which are most important to me. I want to make sure I get to them on that certain day. Mostly, these are centered around my family and other relationships. So depending on the day, I'll usually add 30 to 60 minutes for lunch with the family, plus another hour and a half to 2 hours or so for dinner and bedtime. That way we can spend some time talking together, reading with the children, and being together as a family before we put them to bed. Usually once a week or so, I'll schedule several hours that I can spend with Yolanda, so we can have a date night together alone after we put the children to bed. These are the things which absolutely cannot be missed, as they are the most important things in my life. But unfortunately, they're also the easiest things for me to let go of and let slip when I get trapped by the urgency of work. And therefore, I make sure that I schedule time for them so I don't get pulled into the urgent. Okay, at this point, I have a pretty good idea of how much time I have left in my day to focus on specific projects or tasks. So I'll review all my projects and tasks and figure out what is next to do on those lists. And then I'll look at my calendar and say, okay, I have a 30-minute block here, what can I fit in there? So I'll look at my list of projects and tasks and figure out what's next to do. And then I'll schedule it for a specific time block throughout my day. If possible, each of these time blocks should be associated with a task that is both atomic and concrete. It should be actionable and not possible to be broken down into smaller subtasks. It doesn't always work, such as when I'm doing some debug work for the Rescue Time app, but usually it does. I have this specific feature that I need to get done, and I have an hour and a half here that I think I can accomplish it in. As I love pens and paper, I tend to do all my time blocking analog, and therefore I limit these time blocks to be at a minimum of 30 minutes long. Anything smaller than that, and it just got too complex and too unwieldy, and it was just too big of a list. I find 30 minutes to be a very good starting point for a time block. There are very few tasks which take me less than 30 minutes to do, and those that do, I usually just have a little bit of free time to get up, stretch a bit, get a drink of water, or take a small break before hopping back into my schedule. And finally, the last step is the most important step, and it's also the hardest. Follow through with it. Sure, things will happen that will change your schedule and you won't be able to follow it perfectly. That happens to me every single day. When that happens, don't get frustrated. Just rearrange your schedule, possibly cross things out and rewrite them down. That's perfectly fine. Don't get stressed out. The biggest danger though is when you neglect your schedule without careful enough thought. We all know that it's important to keep commitments that you make with other people. What we often forget though is that it's even more important to keep commitments that we make with ourselves. One of the most destructive things we can do to personal productivity is to break these commitments. By doing so, we are actively training our mind not to trust ourselves. We then stop making progress in our goals and our ambitions. But like I said, things happen. If something occurs, an urgent matter or something, take care of it if you have to. Readjust your schedule, that's fine. Don't be stressed out about it. But whatever you do, don't time block your schedule and then completely neglect it. You made a commitment to yourself and you are as worthy of being accountable to as you are to anyone else. I try to make sure every day, Monday through Saturday, is time blocked the night before. Sometimes I slip up and I just can't fit it in, or I neglect it, which, as I said, is a problem. Don't neglect yourself, but I do. We all fail. What I've noticed though is the days that I do time block, they're so much more productive, so much more enjoyable, and I always end the day feeling so much better with myself. I recently shared a vlog of one of my very busy days and how I time block my schedule the night before. If you're interested in checking out, you can see it up above. Otherwise, there's some other cool videos over here that I think you'd like to check out. I think time blocking is a great tool. I think you should really check it out. If you do try it, let me know how it goes in the comments below. Until next time, bye.